Hello, friends. Make sure if you are attending that you put your name in the chat box. If you were in the last session, this one's going to be exactly like the same as the last one. So I don't know if you have a different one or if you just want to see it again. I did record, so I don't know if there's other sessions that you would like to attend. Okay, if you could in the chat box, put any questions or anything that you know you want to see more of or that you want me to go over. I will be covering pretty much assignments and any of the other things, and assessments will be in level 2. These are recorded, so I will be recording all of the sessions today. They've kind of all going to be a little different, so I'm just going to record them, and if people want to sit through all of them or switch around, that's fine, or fast forward. And then integration with Google Classroom. Okay, perfect. Anything else that you know that you want to see or need me to review or anything, just put it in the chat and I'll kind of figure out where I'm going to go and start from here. Anybody else have anything specific? Otherwise, I'm just going to get started. Cool stuff to do. I have lots of cool stuff to do. In the assessments, I'm going to show you even more cool stuff in level 2. So make sure that if you sign up for that tomorrow, if you can fit it in. If you can't fit it in, make sure you catch the video because especially if you're a core teacher, you'll be loving some of the assessment features. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I am actually not working in a current OnCourse situation. I'm in a fake account. You won't be able to see any of your courses or classes in here until the students are loaded. So I know we're doing diagnostics on the 5th and 6th, and then on the 7th, homeroom placements will be determined, and those will be and added in at some point on the 8th and 9th. I'll also have office hours next week, as well as the following week once the schedules go live and you guys have specific questions. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. What you see here is my home page in OnCourse, and I'm going to go specifically to the classroom. And I'm really kind of zoomed in. Let me back out here. Okay, so here is my students in my classrooms. I can create small groups. Like in English, I have my modified group. That would be my blue group that is modified for shortened assignments, and my purple, which is modified by Lexile. So I can create different assignments and send them out to people. Same thing with my science. I have my purple that's modified by Lexile for those different assignments that will be going out. Please feel free to type in the chat. Megan Campos is monitoring my chat box, as well as feel free to unmute yourselves if you have a specific question. There's only about 21 of you on here, so moving forward with that. Okay, so in here is basically where my classes and groups are. You can expand the specific things here. See how this says no Google address for the student? Their Gmails will populate here, and it will be a clickable link where you could then, if you needed to, email them directly from here. All the primary guardian information would be there if you needed to contact a parent. So it kind of helps you without having to go into the SIS for that. Those of you who are new or need a refresher, I'll be doing a session on Friday afternoon for all newbies. Okay, so I am going to kind of skip over this unless somebody has a specific need for them to show the classes and groupings again. I'm going to go back, and I can always come back. I'm going to go to the messages option. So in messages, it allows me to see my classes on the left and allows me to make new messages. I can filter. So right now I'm looking at my science classroom. I can filter these options and expand them. I can look at all posts, my scheduled posts, calendar events, and flagged and hidden events. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compose a new message. And I have to choose a class first, my B. All right, I'm going to choose new message. I want this to go to all my science class, but if you wanted to send it to specific students, it allows you to break out messages to send to everyone or my purple group or my individuals, or you can just start typing and adding people in. I want this one to go to everybody. And I want this one to go to everybody. And I am going to type, what is it? Why is this not? Welcome to technology. All right, let's just try this again. Okay, you could also send it to math, all your science classes at the same time. If you had all 6 classes, you can put them up there. And then it is not letting me type in the message box.
Why is it doing that?
I don't know.
Go to the
Okay. We're going to try a different class. Okay. And we're going to send it to everyone, and now it's here. I don't know. OnCourse is weird. And I'm going to say, please remember to, I can't spell, to bring your headphones to class. You can also schedule this. If you're up at 3 in the morning, obviously schedule it. We don't want to get messages out at 3 in the morning. But you can schedule it ahead of time if you know you're going to have a dissection on a specific day, or they need to bring something, or something that's day specific. You can put that message there. You can also add web links. You can add anything here just like you would be to any assignment or assessment. We're going to post the message. And you can see my message at the top. I can hide different posts that are here. We're going to go ahead and leave this as the most recent one. Oh, I didn't show how to update photo. I'll do that tomorrow. Okay. My notifications show up at the top by the My Notifications, Progress Reports. I'll show you where that would go, Mary Vanessa, in a second when I get to the kids. Okay. All my messages are here. Some of these, because Carrie and I are in the same fake account right now. So all of my messages that I haven't read are here in red. Any ones that are classroom specific, I can show only classroom notifications. And then I can show only notifications that were sent by a parent or a guardian or student. And then I can X out of here. I'm going to go into the student side, and are all my kids in the same? We'll just use Pedro all day. Okay. So I'm going to go in as a kid. So you can see once you get access to this, what it looks like from the student end by logging in as the student. So if you go to Gradebook and you go to OnCourse Connect. So where I went was Gradebook. You have your Gradebook, attendance, and OnCourse Connect. And I'm going to search by student last name. And Pedro Becker. So now I'm in as him. So what I see is the classroom, and ignore this toggle button because it's a fake account. I can see that in this English class, there's a new message. Okay. Over on the right-hand side, this is my dashboard for my classroom. I can see overdue things that are done, things that are due today, and things that are due tomorrow. And then down here is long-term assignments. On the left-hand side, if I click on dashboard, Mary Vanessa, the latest assignment grades would be here. Notice all the to-dos show up here and any that are homework. Homework comes from the lesson planner. So those of you that are new, we'll cover that on Friday. And then at the bottom, this is where their printout would be, and any progress reports would be through this way. So since they'll be using OnCourse more readily, I think we might be in the position where we can just say, check OnCourse for your progress reports without actually sending them all through the gradebook. But I do not have administrative approval to say that at this time. Okay, go back to Classroom. So I'm going to go to my English. I'm Pedro, I'm logging in for the day. I can see assignments. They're bright colored, so I haven't done them yet. Any class resources are here. And then on the right-hand side, there are new messages. So because me and Carrie are in this at the same time, I'm going to click on the one that's me. And please remember to bring your headphones to class. Well, I'm Pedro, and I don't have headphones. So I'm going to say, I do not have headphones. And I'm going to reply. Notice the red box now moves to Pedro's. And when I go back into my account, and I log in the morning, and then I can see my notifications at the top. I get one here that from Pedro that says I do not have headphones, and I'm going to click it. I don't know why this test site is not, when you click this, bringing you back to the messaging system. I have no idea why that is happening, but it's supposed to, when you click it here, bring you back to the classroom messaging. So I'm going to go to my English class. I can see here that there's comments or messages for me. So I'm going to go to my messages. And I can see here, it marked it as red. The little red bubble went away. And it says, I do not have headphones. And I'm just going to leave it there. You can report it. So right now we have it set to where teachers can kind of handle it. So say this was a student that I needed to mute. I could go back to my classes and here, and you can see the message. I can see the message here. I can go back, read the message. It's no longer yellow. Go back to my classes and groups. Notice it's gone. But now I feel like he needs his messaging rights taken away. So if I click on this and click on actions, I can block messaging for that student. So now he can't message, he can't receive messages. Asked in the last session was, can the students message each other? Yes. So let me turn it back on for my friend here. And I'll allow him, he's done his time. Okay. So I'm going to go back in as Pedro here. And I'm going to go back to my classroom. And these are my classes. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to my science class. I am going to send a new message. And I'm going to send one to my friend, Violet. And I'm going to ask her, where is the assignment we are supposed to do today? Because you know this is going to happen. And then you're going to post it. Okay. So then this shows it here. I'm Pedro. I can see it here. Notice there's no red because it's not for me. So I'm, as a teacher, going to go back in here into messages. And I can see every message I send between each other. I can also comment on this message stream. And I can say, once again, what are you doing? I don't know what's wrong with this, but you'll be able to go here, or you can hide this post and you can report them. Once again, you're reporting it to yourself. We don't have it set up to where you'd be reporting it to some administrators because you kind of handle your own classroom management. But you can see everything that they message each other and groups. So just know. Yes, you can see messages and deleted messages. You see all messages. There, if they use the read the web feature, Mary Vanessa Slauson using Kurzweil, they can use speech to text for all these messages. You can still communicate with parents and students via Google email. This has a little more transparency. So you can kind of use this here because everything's all in one place, but you can obviously still send out, and those of you who are new, I'll show you how to send out messages through the OnCourse system in the gradebook too, if you want to use that feature. I'm going over questions that were asked in the last. Okay, I'm not going to cover calendars, essentially calendars or anything that you create as assignments. I'm going to stick to today the assignments, assignment bank, and then we're going to skip the rubric bank because I ran into issues last hour, and I'm going to bring those up in tomorrow's session. We're going to go over rubric banks, assessments, and then what the reporting looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go into my assignments, and I am going to hide this notification center so it's out of my way, and I'm going to zoom in for y'all because I can't see either. I am blind. Okay, and I can go back and forth between my classes. Hello. I can view all, view active, or view returned. And I have it set to view all marking periods because they're not set. But in our system, when the marking period closes, the marking period closes. So you need to make sure you're in the right marking period, so that you make sure that you're, when you are linking it to your gradebook, that it's able to go directly into the correct gradebook. Okay. So I am going to create a new assignment. And notice, same thing, when you get to this next summer, you'll be able to add assignments from archived classes. All right, we have this drawer that pops up. That's our settings here. So this is in my science class. So I am going to call this biology article and responses. I'm making this up. It doesn't sound that great. Just bear with me. All right, you can do everybody. You could do just your purple group that you added. You could say you had a student who was homebound or whatever. You could send specific assignments to them. Kristen, anybody who's using the assignments, when you get into assessments, it's student specific based on IEPs and 504s. But anybody has an access to Kurzweil Read the Web and can utilize their login to have it read anything on the screen. It's up to you if you want to allow them to use that for their assignments or not. In Google, it's going to read it to them anyway, and they can use text, speech to text if they've figured out how to do that anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to leave the due date here as today. I leave it as 11:59. We teach 5th through 12th grade, so it's going to be, they're going to be doing it in the middle of the night anyway. You have some options when it comes to due dates. So I like to mark submissions late. It lets me know in the grading portal and in Classroom which ones are late. And when I say grading portal, I mean the OnCourse Classroom grading portal. If you don't mark the submissions late, it means time anybody turns it in August 5th, it's not going to mark it as late, and you'll have no idea without going into each individual assignment, kid's assignment, to determine when they turn it in. So I always do it mark as late, regardless of whether I'm going to count off for it being late. It just lets me know so I can keep track and kind of keep on those students who are turning stuff in late. You have no submission required. This would be like if you sent them resources or a video that you wanted them to watch, but they didn't have to do anything with it. They just had to watch the video. So back when we were using Google Classroom, when you created an assignment, so it would show up in their Google Calendar, they would have to go and say you said, complete these math problems in your notebook. They would still have to go into Google Classroom and click mark it as done or turn it in or whatever. In here, you can do no submission required. They don't have to do anything. They can just click on it. You can still see when they access the resources or whatever you put on that particular assignment, but they don't have to submit anything. They don't have to turn anything in or upload anything because it's something maybe you're going to check in class or whatever. So they don't have to actually submit anything, but it does show up in their calendar, and it does allow you to grade it from there. You can do reject late submissions. I'm not so sure when I would use the reject late submissions because we have students with extended time. Now you can go back in the assignment, and if you gave it rejecting late submissions, allow other students to be late. It just seems to be a little more work. And then you can't see anything that they submit. So then that puts you in kind of a bind. Whereas if you do mark submissions late, you can see that it's late. You can still see the assignment. You can make determinations. You can know if the kid's extended time or not. The only thing I can think of is like when 4th quarter, when we did those culminating projects and we had a specific deadline, then you would do reject late submissions. So if the kid would go to submit after the time, it would say submissions aren't being allowed for this assignment anymore, or some kind of verbiage like that. No due date. So I said in the beginning of last session that I couldn't think of why you would use no due date, but then they came up with some really great ideas about no due date, possibly a daily journal that doesn't have a due date in it, but it's something that they access on a daily basis. If you put no due date, it'll still keep it alive in the portal. Maybe it's not something that's graded. Maybe it's a bell ringer that's going to be constantly pushed out in Google Slides using the push slides feature. If you haven't seen the Google Slides presentation, it's really good. But you're going to kind of have to see how things work for you. So I'm going to leave it as mark submissions late. You can schedule it if you're doing it ahead of time. If you schedule it, regardless of whether you say publish assignment, they can't see it until the scheduled time. Okay, so I am not going to schedule. I'm just going to leave it. This checkbox allows students to view returned assessment. That's only if you're fooling with assessments, and we'll touch base on that tomorrow when we cover assessment. So I can leave it checked here and it doesn't matter. Same thing, with the assessment type. I want it on a 100-point scale, so I'm going to use this. You can use check mark to score. I caution you, if you're going to use checks and X's, that you make sure you make it a non-calculated assignment, because an X is a 0, and the lowest grade that we can give for a non-attempted assignment is a 49, and the lowest grade that we can give for an attempted assignment is a 55. So if you use an X, it's giving them a 0, and it's going to mess up your grade book. So you need to make sure if you're using check marks that it's non-calculated. Check marks could be whether they do something or don't do something as far as homework, but it's not necessarily something we're calculating into the overall grade. So just kind of be careful with it as far as that goes. So I'm going to make this a formative, leave it as calculated and the due date and the name. I have some arrows here and here where I can close this drawer. So I'm going to go ahead and close this drawer. And for these instructions, I actually want the students to read an article. There. And answer the questions on the Google Doc. Okay, so I have an article that's in a Word form that I'm going to upload for them as a resource, but I need to create the Google Doc. So when you were in Google Drive, Google Classroom, you were able to create it right then and there. You kind of aren't, but I kind of like it better that way. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to open up a Google Doc. And this is where I want to be able to view all the students' answers. So we're going to call this biology article questions and answers. And then I always title my papers. I don't know why, but you could make it fancy. You could set them up with a MLA format here, whatever you wanted to do. But I'm basically just going to go through and I'm going to say read the article attached in the assignment. And maybe I'm going to say what the name of it is. Then answer the questions below. Okay, so then I'm going to put my questions. Question 1, question 2, and question 3. Okay, done. It's automatically saving in the drive. I can now go back to my classroom. So the first thing I'm going to do is upload the article. The article's on my computer. It's a Word document that I got from a fantastic friend who's going to share it with me. And I'm going to click on here for the Word document. And notice when you use a Word document or a PDF uploaded from your computer, it gives you this Cami Workflow. The Cami Workflow allows them to write on top of it, but I don't want them to write on top of the article. Unless maybe you wanted them to highlight specific keywords or terms, you could leave that on and you could grade that as well. But for this particular assignment, I just want them to be able to view it and read the article. And then I'm going to go back into my Google Drive and I'm going to attach my Google Doc where the kids are going to be writing their responses. I cannot spell. Okay. And this is my most recent, shows up here, biology article Q&A. Now, every time notice when I created it, I didn't have to adjust the settings. I didn't have to make any changes. I was able to create the document because OnCourse does everything for you. So it's going to tell you that some of your documents aren't available for viewing without requesting the permission from you first. You have 2 options. If you want the students, every time they click on it, to request access from you, you get an email. You have to open up the sharing settings in the doc and change the sharing settings. I teach 156 kids. I'm not doing that. I'm going to allow the recipients view access. Notice here I have the option. If it was a resource only, it would send it to the kids in a PDF form, but I want them to actually use the Google Drive workflow and write on the document. So I'm going to keep it as Google Drive workflow. I am then going to go down to the bottom. These things here are videos that show you how to integrate, but basically it's just by putting in links. So I hate that these videos are here and they're kind of clunky and in the way, but c'est la vie. So these are the two things that I need for my students for this particular assignment. So this is going to be their article that they're going to read, and this is going to be where they put their responses. So I'm going to go to save and publish. And now I can see the biology article and responses assignment. I want to make sure that I add this to my assignment bank because I am teaching biology with other teachers. So I am going to go here to the science department folder where we have here, and I'm going to put Amy shared. You can name this any way you want. And then you could also create subfolders if you wanted to, but Amy shared is the ones I share with everybody. And then I'm going to add to the Amy shared folder. So that way all of my colleagues can see the assignments that I have that are shared. Works really well if you're going to be co-planning with somebody that you're doing. Maybe you're doing the assignments on these days and they're doing them on others, or you just want to get ideas from other people. Okay, so you can see here, you don't have to change the accessibility on this because it's not an assessment. Over here, you can see if you had the students that were blocked and any submissions. So we're going to go ahead and go in. I'm going to be Violet today. So I'm going to go in as Violet. So I'm Violet. I've logged into my classroom. I can see overdue here are two assignments that I want to do, as well as the one that I know is due for today, or I could go into my science class and see, but that's where they were. But I'm going to focus on this. And I logged in to actually do the biology article, but I totally forgot to do the biology environmental. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to go here, and I totally need to mark up this Cami. So this is the Cami workflow. If you upload a Word document or a PDF, the students are able to type or write or whatever on here. So I was told to look at this, and this is my feedback here. And then I'm actually going to circle some things I still have questions about. And then maybe I am going to highlight, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to highlight specific things that I think that need to be looked at. Okay, so as I've gone through, if I click close, it's going to refresh on the student side. It shows me that I started it on this particular day and time, which the time is off, I guess because it's a test site. And oh, I think I'm done with the assignment, even though down here is this other part of the assignment, but I think I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here and turn in. What it does is it refreshes, it shows that it was turned in, and the only thing that was turned in was a discipline flow chart because that's all I clicked on. Okay, notice this still says click to open. This is another workflow. So at this point, she's only done half of the assignment. Okay, so then I am going to go back into my classroom. I am still Violet, and I'm going to focus on the activity for today. So I've downloaded my article. I've already read it. I'm not going to download it again because I have it like 20 times in my drive. But I am going to now go answer the questions on the biology article. Why are you going so slow? So it's going to open it in Google Docs. It'd be the same thing if you had a Google Slides or whatever. It makes a copy for each student. And then I'm going to go through, I am Violet, and I'm going to answer the questions. If I do this, I don't have to worry about spelling. Okay, so I've answered all 3 questions. There's no turn in button here like there was in Google Classroom, so I can just get out of it. It automatically saves it. Notice when I come back, I'm Violet. It says that I started it at this time, and I'm done. I'm going to turn it in. So Violet went and had lunch with her friend and realized that she answered number 3 wrong. So she's going to go back and she's going to say, oh, shoot, I need to change my answer for number 3. So I'm going to go back in. Hello. And I'm going to delete this and I'm going to say, fix my answer. Pretend like that's the real answer. Okay. Then I'm done. I need to go here and I need to turn it in again. Go to turn in history. You can see what this makes is a PDF snapshot of the actual article, the student responses. So if students were doing a writing piece and they were doing their first draft, and then you gave them feedback, say there was teacher feedback here, or teacher feedback, just like you would collaborate on a Google Doc. Maybe you entered comments or used the suggestion box to make suggestions and then told the student to resubmit. Then they could go in, make the changes and resubmit, but you'd be able to see the difference between these two submissions. Let's hope it works today. Okay. So then I'm going to go back in, and now I'm the teacher, and I'm going to go to my classroom. And I'm going to look at this biology environmental assignment. And notice it has here, red. One of these submissions was created after a grade was given to the student. Click this to dismiss. So I had already given her 49, but she turned it in late. Notice the late comes up here. I'm going to click on the submission, and it opens up in the assignment grader. It shows me here it was late. It shows me the previous grade that I gave the student was a 49, and all of the attachments. Now notice she only attached the discipline flow chart, but I can see her responses. I can leave my own text feedback. I could give, change this to text to speech, read the page. I could use dictionary. I could add comments. So I want to add a comment here, and my comment is going to be red, and I want to say, please check this again. I can't type. Okay. And I want it to be, please check this again. All done. Everything is here. And all done. I'm going to change this student's grade because now she's not a 49. I'm going to change it to a 55. And then because I had it marked as missing before, I'm going to switch it to late. Okay. So then I'm going to X out of here. Okay, so now I have it changed over here. I'm going to go now into my grade book for science. And you can see it's marked as late with a 55, and there's specific comments that are here that I did in the last session. But you can see it's automatically changed and gone over into the grade book, any changes that I just did. So I'm going to go back to classroom because I really want to look at the biology article and responses that she turned in. So notice I have 19 not submitted, 1 not graded, which is Allison right here, Violet, Allison right here. Click on this. Notice it says on time, and I have the 2 submissions that are here. I can go down and toggle between my 2 submissions, and then I can make comments to the student. Glad you figured out number 3. And then I can also say I wanted to see if this was a large writing piece, to see if they were copying and pasting from other places. So I can say, I wonder how she figured out number 3, because that was a tough one. So I can actually open up the Google Drive document here. And I'm in her Google document. So keep in mind, this is one of those things where before in Google Classroom, they were the owners, then you became the owners, then they became the owners when you returned it, and then you became the owners when they turned it in again. Here, they're the owners. It never gets stored in your drive, but you're able to see the snapshot exactly as it is because it's shared with you based on the Google Drive permissions set up by OnCourse, which is fantastic. Okay. Up here where it says open version history, it says last edit. So if I click on last edit, it'll show me these are the 2 submissions that I have. If I hover over it, Christy Amami is green. If there was another student, it would be here with a different color. And then I can click on this arrow to expand, and I can see that initially the student had this as the answer and then went back, realized that wasn't the answer, and then fixed their answer. Okay. You can just X out of this, and then you're back into the portal here. Okay, I'll show you that. So here, the student fixed their answer. Me as the teacher, I can go in, make a comment, and I can say at Violet, which it's not actually going to tag Violet because that's fake people, but at Violet, great job, blah, 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 blah. Because they're the owner, remember we had this problem with Google Classroom because they weren't the owners when you had the document. Because they're the owner, this shows up as an email to them in their inbox, just like when we make comments on shared Google documents. You can also use the suggesting feature here where you want to say, you need to capitalize this if you were going to correct their grammar or whatever. And then they can either accept your thing or reject it or make comments about it. Okay, good question, Jace. All right. Up here, I have my comment that's added, and I have to put my grade. I have options. It was on time, but if it was missing, late, or incomplete, that's how those other ones got colored. Here was because I marked them here because I could see whether it was late or on time. So this one's not. I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to give this student an 85. It's automatically in real time. So if I X out, you can see it's green. And this is my student's grade. And then here I can see the comments. I can add to the comments or adjust them. Notice it's live. So if you're commenting and you have it set up, they can see it in the gradebook or in OnCourse right away. So I'm going to go to my gradebook, back into my science class. I'm going to refresh this. And I can see here I got an 85. There's a comment here. Glad you can adjust the comment on this side also. And notice it's automatically going through and grading here as needed. Questions thus far? Okay. So in my assignment bank, I've shared some stuff with some teachers. Notice here I have science department, aim on me shared. If I was sharing this with, let's say, Dana Wilson, I could click on this and then I could copy assignment to classes. So say I wanted to try this out with my honors class first, and then I wanted to see if it was going to go, or my first period class or whatever, and then you're going to see how you were going to do. You can then copy this to other classes. So I'm going to copy this to math. Why? Oh, because this isn't math. Pretend like this is science period 2, okay? Working with what I got here. And then here's your information, the due date, the published date, and add to gradebook, okay? Because I'm adding this into math, I have to choose my marking period. We're going to go with 1, and we're going to choose as a formative. Okay, so now I'm going to copy to classes and publish, or just copy to classes. I'm going to copy to classes and publish. That allows them to see it right away. So now, if I am another student, where am I? 2 people. Go back to my math class, and I can see, even though it says biology article, pretend this is biology level 2. Not done, done. Done is kind of shaded out. The ones that are not done are bright. So I can go ahead and click on this. I can click to open. Ignore that red box at the top. I'll explain it after. It's an error with the Google integration, in case you wanted to know. But notice it still let me do it. Okay, then I'm done. I go out. I'm the student. It tells me when I started it. I'm going to click Turn In. Successfully submitted. On my teacher end, I'm going to go back to my assignments. And now I'm going to go to my math class, which is really my biology section 2. And you can see the biology article and responses. Allison did it. She submitted. She did a great job. I'm going to give her 100. And then I'm going to go back to my grade book. Go to my math, which is really my biology section 2. And you can see she got 100 here. What I want you to notice is when I went to go share it, it doesn't automatically publish it. So that means right now, this particular assignment isn't showing up on the students or parents OnCourse Connect. So once you're finished grading all of your essays or whatever, you click this button and you're publishing grades. Once it's green, it shows up in OnCourse Connect for the grades in the grading progress reports. As long as they are grayed out, they are not being published to OnCourse Connect. So even though it's automatically going over to the grade book, you're not publishing it right away unless you've set it to do that. So when I duplicated that assignment, and I'll go back into that, go to my assignment bank, click on this. I want to copy. Notice the thing that came up is publish date, and I had left this blank. If you filled this in with a date and time, then it would publish it whenever you set that up initially. Questions? I know this is a lot. Okay, so I tell my colleagues I made this great assignment. They can use it for their kids and blah, 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 whatever. But they can't see my AME shared folder. That's because I have to right click here into permissions, and I have to add the people I want by last name, which is interesting. So I'm going to add my colleague in there. They can either read what's in there, they can write, they can create, or they can have full access. I'm going to give them full access because that's where we're going to share stuff, and they can dump stuff there too. And I'm going to click close. Any questions so far on the assignment bank or assignments? You guys are a quiet bunch, man. Okay. I'm going to go back to assignments, and I'm going to go into here. Yeah. I know it's a lot. That's why I'm recording. And I am going to eat because I'm starving. Sorry. All right, so let's create one similar to what I think Michael's trying to do here. We're going to do Hamlet. Okay. I'm going to keep everything just like how I'd set it up before. I'm not changing anything on this side, so we're all good. All right, so my instructions for the kids are going to be watch this Hamlet video. Things I want are bullet points. Where are you? None. Make me sad.
Maybe.
I gotta wait. I can fix this. Watch. Watch this Hamlet video. There you go. I got my bullet points.
Use another one. Use like a death one.
Y'all would be really in trouble if I planned ahead for these particular assignments. Good thing I'm like, you know, flying on the seat of my pants on this one. Okay. And then add your reaction to the flip grid. How about that? Right? Okay. So let's go and find a Hamlet video. Good thing y'all are all adults because God only knows what'll come up. let's use. Use this one. You have to watch the videos before you give them to kids. Y'all are adults, so we're going to roll with it. Okay, so I'm going to take my link at the top to my YouTube video. I'm going to go back, web link here. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to say Hamlet video. You want to make sure your verbiage for instructions is what your stuff is called. Want to make it as easy to follow as possible. Okay, add the link. Okay, so you can see my Hamlet video. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my Flipgrid. And this is where I want them to put their, they're going to record what they feel about this Hamlet thing here. And I'm going to go into the web link. I'm going to post it. And I'm going to say Flipgrid reaction video link and add the link. I think this is what you're talking about, Schooner. Stop me if it's not.
It means like when you're in student view mode and they have the resources in the center that they can access.
Okay.
Oh, can I talk real quick?
Yep, go.
Yeah. You're definitely touching on what I'm doing, but I guess what the way that I was thinking in my head is that towards the end in May time in the Google Classroom, I was thinking about how we were giving them kind of like a weekly look at what was going to happen. And then there was just this, I guess the way the topics were set up, I really liked the way that I was aligning all the materials and the different, whether it be videos or PDF files or whatever else that were related to that week's goal. So I guess with this whole way of learning what we're doing here, I'm trying to align that with whether or not I should just jump over from Google Classroom and not even deal with Classroom at all. But at the same time, I'm having trouble making that fit with this. Yeah, no, I'm translating in my brain.
I can show you where the resources go, but everything in here, you could number them like week 1, week 2, week 3, and just have it so the kids would see week 1 assignment, whatever. Yeah. And then you could do it that way. I'll show you the resources as soon as I'm finished with this assignment, so you can kind of see. I want you to see what this looks like on the student end, because I think I've asked for topics in here, and it's in development, which could mean 6 months for whatever. So we'll have to make it work as best as we can for how it would be organized, kind of similar to that. I really like the topics feature because that's how I think in terms of topics like cells and evolution, and that's how my brain thinks about things. So what it's going to be for the student is going to be in order specific, but if there's resources that you want them to be able to access all the time, you put it in the resources section. So I'll show you that next. I think that might help circumvent your issue a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to save and publish this assignment. Okay, I'm in English. Good. I actually did one that was in the right specific course. Who knew? All right, so now I'm going to go back into Violet. I'm going to go into my English class. I'm going to click on my Hamlet. I'm going to, now notice this I hate. My instructions were watch this Hamlet video and add your reaction. So notice it puts the things out of order. That's why I said it's important, specific for you guys to use that. So watch the Hamlet video. So when I click it, I'm a student. It brings me out of the classroom completely, brings me to my YouTube where I have ads for stuff before my Hamlet video. Watch the videos before. Okay. And then I can go back and click to Flipgrid. It's going to open Flipgrid in the second thing, and the kids can log in and then record their video and so on and so forth. So once I'm done, I've watched my video, I've recorded my Flipgrid, I'm here. I can click as mark as done. The teacher knows. The teacher can now go check on, they can go check in the Flipgrid to see my wonderful, beautiful reaction to that Hamlet scene. And it shows when it was turned in down here. Going back to the teacher side, notice it has this one here because I, as a teacher, have to go to Flipgrid, watch the video, and do the assignment. So Excellent job, Violet. Marked it as done. Made it green. All good in the hood here. As far as that goes, say I gave these kids time and I made these 49s, and we're going to right click and make them missing so that they automatically go over. So now notice these will all return to the students and they're all viewable for the students. If I go to my grade book, I can see Violet got 100, these students got 49s. And all of the highlights that I put on here, I like color coding mine to know because it gives me a visual across the way. Okay, going back to Classroom. It is immediately live if it's published. So let me go back. Notice these aren't published, so I can see it, okay? But let's say the date and time is over for Hamlet. So now I'm going to publish the assignment. Once it's green here, Schooner, it's live on their side. So it gives you, even though it's going over to the gradebook immediately, it's not posting immediately. I'm not exactly sure because when I copied the assignment, it let me put a publish date. The publish date used to come up on the side where the assignment thing was, and it disappeared like yesterday. So I'm not sure if they're making everything as non-published or if you still get the choice of when you want to publish it or not. I'm not sure. I'm going to work on that, and I probably won't be able to work on it 100% until it's live for us. I hope that answers your question, Michelle. I'm going to try and answer it. Okay. Back to classes and groups. In your classes and groups is where you're going to add your resources. So let's say we'll stick with the Hamlet thing. All right, so I'm going to go to add my resources here, and I'm going to add resources, and I'm going to post this in my English class, and I am going to such copyright infringement, but we'll just pretend. We should go back and watch Hamlet later. Okay, so I have the entire play of Hamlet that I'm going to put as a resource for the kids. Where did I lost my place? Okay, so I'm going to use this web link, and this is going to be Hamlet play entire. So this is my unit. I'm doing this all the time for Hamlet, whatever. So we're in Hamlet. Then I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to say Hamlet read aloud. So these are going to be audiobooks. So I'm going to click on this one. It's going to be actually a read aloud.
Act 1 of Hamlet by
Following
William Shakespeare.
Their things. There's a bazillion and one things on YouTube, BT dubs. All right. And then totally copyright infringement, but I think William Shakespeare's freeware. Okay, so this is going to be Hamlet read aloud. I guess I should have done a math unit for you, Schooner, but I was already on this Hamlet kick. I don't know why. And now I'm going to look for Hamlet entire play. Here's my play. I'm going to link here and go back to my classroom. I probably should have changed this. Hamlet entire PDF. And then we're going to do Hamlet entire play every day. No fear. No fear is the easier translation from, it's not in as Shakespearean stuff. And this is probably like where I'm going to get into copyright infringement. All right, so say I want to put Spark Notes. Great. We'll put Spark Notes in there. So this is going to be Hamlet Spark Notes. So this is all the, why on God's green earth does my space bar not work? Oh, that's the web link. Ignore me. Okay, so this is my resources here for Hamlet. So I'm going to add the resources. Okay, so over here on this side, I have view students in my English class, and then I have view shared resources. So I have all this stuff. Notice I added these two things. This may be my syllabus, and this may be what supplies they need. So I'm like, no way. This needs to be organized a little better than this. So I'm going to go here to my English, and I'm going to add a subfolder, and I'm going to call this subfolder Hamlet. Okay. Then I'm going to click on these things, and as you will now know, you cannot move these to the folder that you want to. This is fun. All right, so go to my Hamlet. Okay. This is not what I want to do. Go to my Hamlet folder here, and I'm going to add resources to selected folder. My resources here. Oh, this is going to be fun. So set up your notes, set up your folders ahead of time, clearly. I'll have to send them this because that's not going to work. Okay, add resources. So then notice under Hamlet is the Spark Notes Hamlet, blah, blah, blah. So then I'm going to get rid of these. And I'm going to stop sharing these resources. Okay. So now I have my Hamlet folder, and I stopped sharing those other resources. They're still listed in my resource folder. They're not letting me put it in Hamlet, but it is whatever at this point. Okay. So I'm going to go up here to my classroom. As a student, I can see my classes. So when I click on my classes, I have my assignments here, my messages here, and all my class resources. So if you had resources, Schooner, then you could have like Unit 1 or week of whatever resources here and put the stuff in there. Create your folders first, because clearly there's a glitch as to not being able to move them. But that being said, so if I click on Hamlet, it opens it, and you could add, yeah, because if I was a teacher who just spent all that time researching all that stuff on YouTube and closed all those windows, I'd be pretty pissed. So note to self, but everything would be here, and then you can see it. You could have as many folders within folders that you wanted to for your class resources. I think that's the best workaround. You still can't, I guess you could title your assignments Hamlet dash or Hamlet number 1, Hamlet number 2, Hamlet number 3, if you were doing that kind of deal, or Unit 1.1, Unit 1.2, whatever. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. I don't even know what time this thing ends. Am I even on time? 11:15. Okay. I've kind of gone over a lot. What questions do we have? What do we need to see? What do we need to see again? Thanks, Ian. My co-pilot left for a moment to get some water. Y'all can unmute yourselves. You can say what you like, what you don't like, what you need me to put in a feature request for. Obviously, I'm going to put in a feature request for why in the heck I can't move resources that I've uploaded. Because now, even though I've taken them out and I stopped sharing them is just like deleting. So don't think because you stop sharing, you can start sharing again. Because look, I stopped sharing and they're all gone. They're deleted. So not cool, but lesson learned. Let me make the mistakes and let you learn from them. Yes. And once the classrooms are set, I'm going to have open office hours as well as times you can set up and join for those specific things that you need to. But I mean, I am here to answer anything that you have and questions or something you want to see again or a specific assignment. How would you set it up? It's hard when you can't play with it. Because for me, I had to wrap my brain around it. I had to get them to make me this fake one because otherwise there was no way. Questions? Let me show you something. Yeah, I'm in. This is not me. Oh, holy moly. This is me. See all these things? These are me. Okay, let me go to classroom. All right, so this is what it looks like if you had like a PLC. So say you had all of your math teachers are in there together or however you do it, but you're all staff. So you don't have that OnCourse Connect view. So in case you have the PLC thing here, and you can actually, I'm in this new staff, and actually all the new staff are in this here. You can go through and message the group. You can add resources. You can share things. There's messaging, features, calendars. You're just going to toggle across the top, different than the students would having the OnCourse Connect. So in case you're put into a PLC and you're like, what is happening? So if you're a leader of a PLC, you can actually view as a participant or as a moderator what is showing up. So if you're participating in a PLC, you'll see these assignments on the side, not like in OnCourse Connect. And we've asked why not, and I'm waiting for a response on that. So I just wanted to show you that in case somebody throws you into a PLC and you're like, what is happening? Okay. Any other questions? If you think of anything, feel free to shoot me an email. I hope you guys will at least be able to come out to tomorrow for session 2 for assessments. Mary Vanessa, it takes a while for these to come to me and download them, but I'm hoping to have them. I'm hoping to have these up Saturday morning and the ones for Friday up Saturday night. I'm going to put them on the EdTech resources page. I have the ones from earlier in the week. They're really long, some of them, so it takes a while to download and then upload again to YouTube. Okay. All right, if nobody has anything, then we finished a couple minutes early. I'm gonna stay in here if we need to, and we will monitor chat if you have any questions, but if you need to go and get your stuff together. Thanks, Kristen. Y'all are welcome.